Alright guys, finally getting around to doing this. Okay, I'm gonna go over, what mods I did to this thing. Um, to save some time, because getting the body off this thing it's very difficult to get the body off of this thing. It's, well, not difficult, but just a real pain in the butt to do. So, anyway, I'm gonna skip ahead here for you, and, we'll jump right into everything. Okay guys, got it all tore down for you here, and see if I can keep this semi short and sweet on all the mods I did to this thing. Some recommendations I might have for you. Some of them are basically almost free. Stock tires, if anybody knows, they're fairly rough. Now these ones I'll have to glue, even though they have a bead lock on it. Okay. What happens is that after what I did to soften the tire up, it's a little too soft, and it does slip out the back bead lock. So they'll need glued. The mod works to make them softer. Use it at your own risk on it. What I used was liquid wrench silicone spray. Now I use this for like maintenance on the vehicle. And this thing's filthy, and there's a reason. The reason I left it filthy. I want you guys to see, with the shock mod, what all's, nothing's been cleaned up to try and hide anything. But anyway, I sprayed like 2 or 3 coats of this on the tires, inside and out, and started the foams, and they're not half bad now. I mean, they're still hard. They're not like, I'm not swapping them out. I have the Super Swampers thrown here. That was one of the, I think this is one of the better mods to do this. Now, these are the Super Swampers that came on my Viterra Ascender. Okay, any 1.9 tire, but I changed the rim. Now these aren't bead locks. Some of the China bead locks, I've tried them, and they just break apart. I did have to glue these on, unfortunately. But these are like, I don't know, 10 or 15-year-old Pro lines. A buddy of mine has an old hobby store closed up, but there's still stuff in there, so I got these from him. But it's a decent plastic is what it is. And I think the key thing to this is keeping it light. And I think that's what saved it. We did try my aluminum bead locks with, I can't remember the name of the tires on them. I mean, it did okay, but I was really worried that something's going to break. Just too much weight. I think because they're light and they're a lot bigger, so when they're on here, I think the tires were taking some of the shock. If you didn't see from where my 6-year-old was just bashing the crap out of this thing, and nothing broke. It was amazing. I thought for sure something was going to break after how many times he rolled that thing. So, keeping things light. Like I said, these are a pretty soft tire. These are like the scale, for like the scale rigs, trailing, just a 1.9. They're the same. I believe that's 12 millimeter. They're the same as on hobby grade. Granted, everything's pretty cheap on here, but it didn't break, so it's got to say something for it, and you can make some upgrades. A lot of linkage in the steering. It's very soft. Which makes for sloppy steering. Now, that could be changed, okay? These could be changed and made stiffer. But I think things might start breaking more on you. The only one I did change, and it's not even because I didn't have the same thing for both sides. I added two steering arms. Let's see if you can see this. There's one here. And then this one over here, let's see if I can get some light on it here for you. So the one on this side over here, this side is, if I can get it to come in focus for you or something here. It's coming out terrible. Anyway, I think you can make out what I'm talking about right there. So that's adjustable, because I noticed the steering on this thing, it tended to tip out. To spread out on everything. I wanted to be able to tune a little bit. Don't really have to do that, but then I did. So the tires were a big modification. You know, and they're just cheap plastic wheels. You know, some people won't agree, but I don't have money for a lot of extra stuff, so I don't have the regular tire glue. I just use a little bit of super glue. Hey, it works. Okay, you know, do that or don't run it. Another thing here is the motor and the pinion. So see if you guys can see this here. Hopefully we can get in on this or something somehow on here. So my motor and pinion on this thing, I know lighting, this is coming out terrible. I hate this. So hopefully you guys can see that. That's why I'm Goal Racing 35 turn motor. I believe it's, how many pins is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 or 11 tooth pinion on it. So it's geared pretty low for me, and because I do a lot more scaling, more rock crawling. So I do prefer that. I don't know if zooming in here would work better for you guys or not. Let's see if we can make this will come out a little bit better for you guys, so you can see more of what I have here. Okay, hopefully that you can see what I have there. One of them, cheap Goal Racing motor with 35 turn, worked out great. Well, I got it up here close. Everything's backwards. You can see, sort of see, how filthy these things are. I think the front shocks may have leaked a little bit. That's bringing me to the next thing I did. I converted these shocks over to oil. I didn't buy anything in it because I had spare stuff laying around. So if you've been in the hobby for a while, you probably have what you need to do it. But anyway, they're quite filthy. These may have leaked a wee little bit. I'm not completely positive. And you can see how dirty they are. I mean, this is, you know, I'm not trying to hide anything on there. But anyway, like I said, they may have leaked a little bit. And what I did to them was really, really simple. You know, here's the regular, the rear shock. Nothing done to it at all. I didn't clean up anything. And this was very simple what I did to this thing. I thought I had added Teflon tape like up on this end, which I'm going to do now. They didn't leak, but as extra insurance I'm going to do it anyway, just because I have it tore down now to clean it up. But underneath here, and I'll show you, I have the whole thing tore down here. Okay, here's everything on the shock. You know, this one's fairly cleaned up. I got to put it back together. So give you guys an idea. Right here on the very end of your shock, this is where your shaft comes out. Right here. The only thing that you really have to do was I found an O-ring. Okay. See if you guys can see this. If I can get this thing to stick on my finger here. Okay, just a little O-ring. So that was what I had to find. Now, and it fits in here. It fits in here just you know, nice and snug. Okay, I can't get it right now with only one hand. So that'll go on the shaft. You know, just run through. That's basically it, really. When you go to put the end cap on the end of this thing, you want to do it, you know, just hand tight. Don't crank it really super hard or anything like that. Just enough to seal it. That's all the more you want. And then, of course, when you fill it from the back. And you know, I like to have it so that there's just a teeny bit of rebound. Like, so when you push the shaft in, it'll spring back a little bit. This is the part where I was saying about putting Teflon up here on the top cap here. A little bit Teflon tape, you know, and you can get it for like $1. But you know, all that's going to do is help make sure it didn't leak. The rear ones didn't leak at all. I don't know if I just got lucky and it's seating properly, you know. but they didn't leak at all. But after seeing how badly he bashed this thing around, I'm going to go ahead, while I have it tore apart here to show you guys, I'm going to redo them. I'm going to add some Teflon tape around the end there, you know, and you can see by looking at this thing here, this thing has not been, you know, it hasn't been leaking at all. Hopefully this comes out on camera good for you guys, so you guys can tell, you know, it's not leaking. But only this O-ring right here. Now, another option for you. If you don't have an O-ring, like the right size, say you find an O-ring and it's too big. I've done this. This works, but you have to be. It's very delicate and it may take a couple tries. So you take your O-ring that's too big, cut the section out of it until when you go to put it back. Until you go to put it back in here, you have to kind of squeeze it in just a wee little bit. And that usually will be enough, you know, to make a complete seal with the oil. Okay, so that's an option if you can't find the exact O-ring for it. So that's, you know, something you can give a shot. You know, the other thing I wanted to show you guys here, what I had to do when I put this motor in here, I forgot to tell you, was on the motor mount I had to grind it out with the Dremel, which you can see right there. You can see how it's, let me get a pointer here for you. See how it's all blown here? Okay, because I had to shift the motor over to account for the smaller gear here, for the smaller pinion. So, that I had to grind out. Couple other things with this car, you know, and anybody that has it they will probably already know. It's got a terrible amount of chassis flex on this thing. I don't think I'm going to mess with it too much, only because the roll cage, you know, kind of keeps everything in pretty good order. They did add weights on here to try and, you know, counteract, you know, that front end ripping a wheel up off the ground, like, you know, everybody that has this thing's used to, which is kind of cool, you know, to see it rip, you know, a wheelie up like that initially. But when you're trying to actually do some crawling or do anything serious, it's not that great. But yeah, anything else I'm going to do I haven't done yet is I'm going to crack open the rear axle and just put some marine grease in there, you know, just some, you know, extra precaution, you know. Keep everything, you know, obviously mine hasn't been cleaned up yet. It's dirty right now. I left it dirty for a reason though. But all of your moving joints and everything on here, even like underneath here, particularly under here, keep that cleaned and lubed up. Like I said, I tend to use the liquid rinse silicone spray. Really, any silicone spray would be fine. That's just the one I prefer. You know, I used to do a lot of plumbing work, and that was my personal preference. So that's what I use. Anything else will do just fine now. But yeah, like I said, you can see everything's just fine on this thing. It's all, you know, you can see nothing's broken. It's all the way it came. And you seen what my son did to this thing, bashing it. He just beat the crap out of this buggy here. So yeah, I just wish they still had it for the same price that you know, you guys could get it for the same price I got it for. I got real lucky at getting it for 45 bucks. Yeah, I guess it's gone up a little bit since then, probably because they know it's popular. So, well, anyway, I hope this helps you guys out. You know, the little O-ring on the shock there, you know, right where it goes, right here in the end. The tires, keep them light. You know, they're definitely, you know, a lot larger than factory, as you can see here, but keeping them light. So I think that's going to be a big thing with this buggy, keeping things light. You start adding too much weight to it, it's not going to handle it. I am working on a modification for the steering servo. I don't know if it's going to work or not. I mean, I'll tell you guys what I'm planning on doing with it, and if anybody wants to try and do it, you know, if they happen to do it before I do it, let me know if it worked for them. Is I'm going to take a half decent servo and I'm going to put it in there, but I'm going to take the wiring out of this servo. So I'll wire these wires that are wired to the motor in here and put them onto my good servo, or fairly good servo. And then hopefully I can take the potentiometer inside of here. Hopefully I can take the one out of here and either wire it up to the servo I want to use, or stuff this one in there. And it's a lot of work. Yes, I know there's better ways to doing it, but I ain't got money to go out and buy another radio, another ESC, just so I can have an upgraded servo. So I figure some people got some time to kill and no money to spend on it, but want it upgraded and they got parts, so this might be an option. Or just for the fun factor, just to see if you can do it and say, hey, I did it. So, alright. Well, anyway, that's about it. I hope this helps you guys out, with with your questions on this thing. It's been a blast. So, alright, well anyway, till next time. Talk to you guys later.